Hi, welcome to Astroreader PH and thanks for dropping by for some astrology. In this video, we're gonna go over a not so well known astrological secret that can throw a wrench in your best laid plans. Before someone comments about it, I'm aware that more experienced astrologers know about this, but this is generally unknown to the public. It's a very simple astrological tool that can really help you in your daily life if you know what you're doing. In my many years of astrological practice, I've observed and tested this phenomenon hundreds, if not thousands, of times, and I've always found it consistently performs the same way. So stay tuned so you can figure out how this simple astrological tool can help you avoid catastrophes in your life, great or small. April 10, 1912. In April 10, 1912, a famous ship sailed its maiden voyage. You probably know it as the Titanic. We all know how that voyage ended. We've watched the movie and listened to the song. This maiden voyage occurred during a special astrological period. Meanwhile, a US president reportedly used these special periods to avoid getting slugged by difficult press questions. So, what is this special period we're talking about? It's called the void of course moon period. This video is about this special period and how you can use it to improve your life and others. In this video, we're gonna go over what the void of course moon is, its effects, what not to do during void of course moons, and what you can do during void of course moons, and how you can map out these void of course moon periods. So stay tuned and I'll explain to you how you can use this tool to potentially avoid bad or unexpected outcomes to your plans. I'll also go through how you can maximize it because it has a good use too. So what exactly is this potent and unfathomable time? It's quite simple really. A void of course moon period occurs when the moon finishes its last major aspect while transiting a sign until it enters the next sign. This time period occurs once every 2 to 3 days, with lengths ranging from a couple of minutes to a whole day or so. That's all you need to know for now. Later in the video, I will tell you how you can get a simple list of these time periods. So, what are the effects of a void of course moon period? During void of course moon periods, there's an overall feeling of fogginess or uncertainty. We can feel detached from the real world. So if we're fictional characters, it's like the events in our life are not canon, so to speak. Like we're in a crossover episode. When you experience this enough times in an alert or aware state, you eventually learn to sense it. Its foggy effect is almost unmistakable. Overall, it feels like a void just like its name. So, what activities should you avoid during void of course moon periods? Here we must discuss an important word: intent. During void moon periods, it's best to avoid activities where specific intent is invested. Some examples of this are signing contracts, purchasing major items like expensive items, investing in or launching a business, committing to an agreement, starting a project or job or relationship, or even meeting a new person like on a first date or interview. If you buy an expensive item during this time, you may end up not fulfilling its potential or end up using it in some unintended way. If you launch a business during this time, it may not be successful, and there could be difficult surprises along the way. If you start a job, the job could be way different than what you expected, which could be good if you had little or bad expectations, but we'll go more on that later. In fact, if you meet a person for the first time, your first impression might be quite misplaced. They may turn out way different than expected sometime in the future, or you may end up not connecting with them anymore. Just like what happened to the Titanic in its maiden voyage. This isn't to say all voyages begun on VOC moons will end in a similar way, but some things may be different or unexpected about them for sure. Interestingly, as I was doing research on this video, I perused the astrological databank of astro.com for important events that occurred during VOC moons, and I could barely find any. I was somehow frustrated at first until I realized this was exactly because of the very nature of VOC moons. Anything started or done with intent during VOC moons tended not to result in anything significant. So, are you getting the gist? Basically, VOC moons can be pretty disruptive to your best laid plans. So, if you have significant projects in the works, it's best that you avoid these periods. In this next part, we'll go through the positive use of these periods. But before that, I'd like to invite you to please like and subscribe to this channel if you like content just like this. Thanks! Okay, so now you know when to avoid VOC periods. But what activities are favorable during VOC moon periods? We go back to our keyword, intent. Since VOC periods can be disruptive to activities with intent, they can be quite beneficial to activities with little to no intent, just like the energy of a delightful surprise. So, mindless and experimental activities are favored during this time. You can stumble upon some random breakthroughs. So is buying cheap stuff. You may find that these purchases end up better than expected. Like I said, mindless activity is favored. Autopilot activities like chores. VOC periods are quite excellent for cleaning. It's also good for rest and reflection. During VOC moons, it can feel like the veil between dimensions is thinner, and we can pierce through it more easily. So it's possible to have heightened spiritual experiences. I, myself, tend to receive good astrological insights during these times. But I don't make readings during these times because those take intent. Opportunities can open up as well that were previously unavailable to us. When it comes to meeting people, things can end up differently in the positive sense as well. One other key thing, though, is it's also easier to get away with things during these periods. You can avoid a lot of resistance as people's guards are down. But like I said in the beginning of this video, try to use this for good, not bad things. In connection with this, we gotta mention Ronald Reagan, who had allegedly maximized VOC moons to his great benefit. It's kinda well known that Ronald Reagan had an astrologer. His astrologer, Joan Quigley, would reportedly schedule his difficult press conference during VOC moon periods, so that nothing will come out of them and he'll be able to defend himself. In the next section, I'll lead you to the easiest ways to get a map of these periods. So, now you know what VOC moons are, when to avoid them, and when to use them. But how do you map these special periods of time? It's quite simple. First off, there's an app for it called Simple VOC Moon Calendar on Android, which I use for quick checking. That's what it looks like. But if you don't use Android, then there's this very straightforward site called Moontracks that'll give you a simple 2-month calendar. If you don't like these though, there are a number of calendars online. Just Google them. Just remember to make sure that you input your time zone right. So, some last thoughts. Remember that other planets go void as well. Not many astrologers study this, but other planets, not just the moon, can also go void. The moon just goes void much more often than the others. And handling VOC moons is a matter of being vigilant and aware that they're right around the corner so that they don't end up sneaking on you. But then again, living freely without using this knowledge is fun as well. And that's it. Thanks for watching the astrological secrets of void of course moons. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Goodbye.